Welcome back. 412-575-2600 is the number on the Bordas and Bordas hotline. Josh Taylor here with you. Talking Steelers, we're talking Pens, we're talking Pirates, a lot of different news and notes. Handful of college basketball games on the slate today, so there's plenty to get to. Where do we want to start? Let's start with Judy in Springdale. Judy, you're on the Nightly Sports Call.
Hi, Professor.
Hi, Judy. How are you?
Okay, now we're going to be quick. I told you about Youngstown.
You did.
Told you about Slippery Rock.
You did.
Guess where number 3's going?
Enlighten me.
4-year scholarship to Duquesne.
Really? Congratulations. That's excellent. We talking football here?
What did you say?
We talking football? Or are we talking basketball? Or are we talking what sport?
No, we're doing football.
Football. Coach Jerry Schmidt,
It goes
great guy.
to show you don't pay attention when I talk.
I do remember Youngstown State and Slippery Rock football. There's
That's
a lot
a
of sports
4-year
going on at Duquesne.
scholarship.
A lot of sports going on at Duquesne.
Number 2's a Slippery Rock.
I remember.
And number 3 is Duquesne.
That is awesome.
And I will still say on my couch. All right, honey, that's all I wanted to tell you.
Thank you for the call. Congratulations. Anytime I hear about a student going to my alma mater, I'm automatically excited, so that's cool. Coach Jerry Schmidt has done an outstanding job. I'm going to point this out. For him to do what he's done, winning the NEC a couple times and a couple of appearances in the FCS playoff, it's something that's worth mentioning. I don't think it gets mentioned enough, so congratulations to what they've done so far. And they've got a pretty good recruiting class coming in next season, so congratulations to Jerry Schmidt and Duquesne. Let's go to David in Finleyville. David, you're on the Nightly Sports Call.
Hi, Josh. Thanks for taking my call.
Thanks for calling in.
Realistically, do you think Roethlisberger will get back to his Super Bowl before he retires? I'll hang up and listen to you.
Realistically, if it doesn't happen, I don't think it'll be because of him. At least you'd like to think it won't be because of him. And this is something that you have to remind yourself. And since we're talking realistically, if you're comparing the things he had in the earlier part of his career when they did go to Super Bowl a handful of times in that half a decade period, he had a lot of the similar things he has now. A couple of all-pros on the offensive line, really good running back behind him, guy that made a handful of Pro Bowls, and the guy eventually went to the Hall of Fame. Hall of Fame candidate receiver, split wide. He had those things in the beginning part of his career. You get to the latter part of his career, a couple of all-pros on the offensive line, really good running back behind him. Some might argue Hall of Fame caliber, at least if his career had gone on the same projection it had gone on, last year notwithstanding. Hall of Fame candidate split out wide. Same things in front of him and behind him and split wide. What was the difference in the first time around? Defense the first time around was a lot better. That would be the difference in my opinion. Let's go to Pete in Squirrel Hill. Pete, you're on the Nightly Sports Call.
Josh, how are you, my friend? You've been missed.
I've missed being here. Thank you. How you been?
All right. Hey, Josh, real fast. You're a smart, educated man. Respect your opinion and wish you were on more often.
Appreciate that.
But anyway, about Antonio Brown, Josh, every single day and night on the Fan and on your show, do people realize why would you want a human being of his fabric as part of your organization, Josh? He's an embarrassment, okay? Look at all the countless episodes with his teammates, disrespecting the teammates, the organization, the episode in Miami, throwing furniture off a 14-story building. He's an adult man. That's why Peter King has announced and reported that the Steeler organization is now the laughing stock of the league because of shenanigans. I don't understand it. What do you think about that?
We're talking about just Antonio Brown's moral fiber because there's a pretty long list you can dial back the last 40 or so years, and there's a pretty good list you can put together. If we act like Antonio Brown, what he's doing is a new thing, go back about 10 or 15 years ago. I'm pretty sure you can find something that a couple guys, one of them still being on this team, has done that I guarantee people didn't like back then. We might need to be more honest with ourselves about that. Not just with guys on this current team, guys that have played on this team in the past. One of them talks a lot on TV, and he had his own issues. And we tend to bring it up. And the owner at the time, God rest his soul, Dan Rooney, even came to his defense. I'm talking about James Harrison, and that was a very, very not so great thing that he did. So if we're looking at just the stuff that Antonio Brown's done, then we're picking the wrong lens. I'm not absolving him from anything that he's done. Of course, some of the things that Antonio Brown has done have been repulsive and wrong. Of course they have. Of course, at this point, he looks like the way worst figure in this entire situation. Of course he does. Some might argue he looks a little bit crazy. But if we're writing off what everybody else or not everybody else, but at least certain other people involved with this organization have done over the years, then we're just picking and choosing what we want to pay attention to. Let's go to John in Pitcairn. John, you're on the Nightly Sports Call.
Yes, sir. Second time caller on your show.
Appreciate you.
And your show's on 93.7 The Fan. I love listening to it.
Appreciate
That's a
that.
fact. But here's the problem. Everybody is hating Brown, right? I understand that the guy has problems, okay?
He does.
We all do, don't we?
Yes, we do.
And I understand people want to just throw him out. Get rid of him. Goodbye. But wouldn't that be something if he's the wide receiver that's going to come back and haunt us in the end and go to Philly?
You see,
Maybe even
you're thinking what I'm thinking.
Los Angeles in a trade?
You're thinking what I'm thinking, and thank you for the call. This is the thing that sticks out with me. When you're talking about possible trade candidates, do you want to send him to a team that might come back and have to face you, whether it's in the playoffs or in a Super Bowl? Do you want to entertain that possibility? Because if you're thinking about sending him to the Rams or the Eagles, that becomes real. If you're thinking about sending him to an AFC team, that becomes real. That limits it to pretty much like 4 places: San Francisco, Arizona, maybe Buffalo. Like, that really narrows the list of places that you might want to send him where it won't come back to bite you, at least if not right away, somewhere down the line. It's a really short list. So if you're going to do that, and I think, honestly, how much leverage do they really have as far as teams they can send him to where it won't come back to hurt them and where they can get the kind of return that they're looking for? I think the list is short. I'm really wondering just what kind of deal they can find for themselves. It is a concern for me. But thank you for the call. Got a couple questions on Twitter. We have Jarek talking about Pitt. He says, do you think the Pitt men's basketball team will win another game this season? Honestly, there have been some games that Pitt has been in really tight in the past couple weeks, and today was one of them against Virginia Tech. And if you want to get into the charge call on Cameron Davis with a couple minutes left in the game, that looked like a moment where I thought Pitt getting that steal off the inbound, Cam Davis getting in the paint, and Davis putting that shot up and putting that shot in, I thought that was going to be a huge moment where Pitt had a shot to really change some momentum in that game. That charge call was really crippling for them. And it's been one thing here and there. They've been in tight some games. Now, granted, some games they have getting beaten up pretty bad. But there have been a couple close games in the past couple months where they've had an opportunity and a call doesn't go their way or one mistake doesn't go their way, and everything could have swung in the other direction. I'm not going to be the one to say that they won't win another game. I think they can win at least 1 or 2 more for no other reason than the law of averages. We saw a couple games within the last couple weeks where they had so many open shot attempts and they just didn't go in. There's got to be a day when those shots are going to go in, if for no other reason than the law of averages. I think they can win 1 more. And I'm not just saying that to dump on them or just to be contrarian, but I think they have 1 more in them, if for no other reason, because some things just haven't broke their way, and I think they can change that around. Let's have one more question before we go to a break here. We have Mike on Twitter who says, I'm optimistic, Josh. The Pirates will be this year's breakout club. Josh Bell, MVP of baseball. Jamison Tyone, Cy Young. That is the most optimistic thing I have heard since the end of last season. Mike, if you're right, I got some questions for you about stock tips. We got to take a break. We'll be back.